This is TechCrunch.
OpenAI says it won't release a model called Orion this year. I'm Imran Sheikh, and get ready because it's time for your Daily Crunch for Saturday, starting with 3 big headlines. Alongside the Apple Intelligence-powered iOS 18 updates for consumers and developers, Apple's rolling out a sizable refresh to its app testing platform for developers, TestFlight. Developers will have more control over who can join their beta and how an app's new features are shared with testers. They'll be able to view metrics related to the beta's success in terms of how many people viewed the invite and opted in and why others did not. The changes are going to make it easier for developers to target their betas and gain more feedback ahead of their app's public debut on the App Store. Meanwhile, for beta testers themselves, the redesigned invitations will offer more information about the app, helping them make a decision as to whether or not they want to join the test group. With the update, invitations now highlight new features or content coming to the app or game, which could encourage testers to try it out. In addition, Apple says the beta builds of apps and games that have been already approved for publication in the App Store will be able to include screenshots and the app category along with their invite. And Waymo has closed a $5.6 billion Series C funding round led by parent company Alphabet and joined by a who's who of Silicon Valley venture firms. Alphabet had previously announced in July that it was pledging another $5 billion to Waymo, but was mum on the specifics, saying only that it was a multi-year commitment. Andreessen Horowitz, Silver Lake, Fidelity, Tiger Global, Perry Creek, and T. Rowe Price all joined the round. Waymo declined to say how much each invested. It's Waymo's second external fundraising round, and its first since a $2.25 billion Series B in 2020 that eventually grew to $3.2 billion. The autonomous vehicle company says it's going to use the funds to expand into new cities and further develop its autonomous capabilities for business applications. Waymo's, in some ways, a much different company now than it was when it raised that last round. At that time, the company was still plowing headlong into an autonomous trucking effort that it's since pulled back from. The company has instead put nearly its entire focus on its robotaxi ride-hailing service. The bet's paid off. Waymo now operates commercial robotaxi services in San Francisco, Los Angeles, Phoenix, and is expanding to Austin and Atlanta. It's giving paid rides to more than 100,000 customers per week across those first 3 markets and offering trips to and from the airport in Phoenix. And it's operating on highways in the Phoenix and San Francisco areas. OpenAI says that it doesn't intend to release an AI model codenamed Orion this year, countering recent reporting on the company's product roadmap. "We don't have plans to release a model codenamed Orion this year," a spokesperson told TechCrunch via email. "We do plan to release a lot of other great technology." The Verge reported on Thursday that Orion, which is expected to be OpenAI's next frontier model, would launch by December, and that trusted partners would be first to preview it ahead of a rollout through ChatGPT. According to The Verge, Microsoft, a close OpenAI collaborator and investor, expects to gain access to Orion as early as November. Now, OpenAI previously told TechCrunch that The Verge's report wasn't accurate, but declined to elaborate further. Orion, a step up from OpenAI's current flagship, GPT-4o, is reportedly trained in part on synthetic training data from o1, the company's reasoning model. OpenAI plans for the foreseeable future to continue developing new GPT models alongside reasoning models like o1, which it sees as addressing fundamentally different use cases. OpenAI's statement leaves substantial wiggle room. It could be that the company's next major model isn't, in fact, Orion, or perhaps OpenAI will release a new model by December, but one less capable than Orion. At this point, it's anyone's guess. And let's wrap it all up here with the world of startups. Rental car startup Kite, which bills itself as the best alternative to Hertz, is pulling out of almost all of its major markets in the United States and has cut its workforce roughly in half in a bid to survive after exploring a sale earlier this year. The company is shrinking its operations to focus only on San Francisco and New York City as it works to reach profitability in the next 18 months, CEO Nicholas Volk told TechCrunch. Kite has been exiting other major markets like Atlanta, Chicago, Boston, Washington, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, and Seattle. It started telling customers in Los Angeles that it is suspending operations in that city after November 7th, as Curbivore reported Thursday. Volk said Kite recently cut between 40 and 50% of its workforce. And similar to how Mastodon offers an open-source, distributed version of X, the Fediverse is getting its own TikTok competitor. This week, an app called Loops began accepting signups on its new platform for sharing short, looping videos. Still in the early stages, Loops is not yet open-sourced, nor has it completed its integration with ActivityPub, the protocol that powers Mastodon, PixelFed, PeerTube, and other federated apps. However, both those efforts are in the works and, when complete, will allow Loops to add another layer of social activity to the growing open social web known as the Fediverse, which now has north of 11.6 million users and over 1 million monthly active users. And that's your Daily Crunch. Today's stories were reported by Sarah Perez, Kyle Wiggers, and more beautiful, lovely TechCrunch journalists. We'll see you here next week, and until then, find us at TechCrunch.com.